Where is Belichick's next chapter? And that, to me, is the story of the second half. I'm sorry. I can't watch Oregon football or North Carolina. I'm not going to do it.
Oh, you mean because of the quarterbacks?
I'm not going to do it. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not.
We'll worry about that later.
I watch football on Sundays. I'll watch. I'm just not doing it. I'm sorry.
I like the defiance.
I'm just not going to do it. I mean, you make me bet it. If I'm sitting there at a bar and I got nothing else to do and I bet the thing, fine. But you know what I mean? It just doesn't interest me, watching college football on that level. I'm sorry, it doesn't. I'll get into it in the spring. But this I can do. The contractual stuff, the leveraging stuff, the posturing, the rumors. All right, so this I'm into, and this I think is what it's going to be. I mean, this is the dance that Belichick and Kraft are going to engage in before we get to the offseason and decisions are made and action is taken. So there we go. You heard it right there. Florio heard it over the weekend. The exit route for Bill Belichick is a trade to the Commanders. Your thoughts?
I love the idea. Again, at least then the Patriots get something for him. So I'd take that. As long as he's not here, I don't care where he ends up. So the idea of doing it via trade, to me, is almost ideal. At least you get something for him at this stage of his career in particular. Because, if he's going to be an asset, then you might as well get something for it. That's sort of my feeling on it. It would make sense with the Commanders. I mean, listening to it, I started to wonder, did it have any implication at all on what the Commanders did at the deadline?
Yes.
Right? So, I immediately draw that connection.
Clearing the decks for the next guy.
Right, exactly.
And if anyone would want a clean slate financially, it's Belichick. Again, given the way he manages money, he wouldn't want to be handed any contracts.
No, it makes all the sense in the world. I mean, think of it again. So we were asking the question, who's running the Patriots deadline? And the answer is who's running Washington's? That might have been Belichick chirping in someone there for all we know. So, if you really let your imagination run wild. So I like it. I like the idea. I'm all for it. I hope it's absolutely in play.
Yeah, I'm for anything that, blows this up and we start anew with a new coach and new quarterback. But that's, a different conversation with the quarterback. So while I think the game has started to pass him by or has passed him by, his name still rings out. It has cachet. So if you're one of these teams with a new owner, who is it, Josh Harris with the Commanders, that still puts asses in seats, kind of like how, it's different. But, when the Patriots signed Parcells, that was like a holy crap moment. For Washington with a new owner, you get Belichick, that's going to be a holy crap moment for that fan base.
So you would admit, even though we're all down on Bill, there are certain places where even if you were a fan of it, you'd say this makes sense for us.
Without question.
Right?
Yeah, sure, of course.
And Washington's one of those places.
Yes.
It's like, what the hell else do you have to lose?
No, definitely. Again, I think this is good news. Because, again, look, I look at it as I don't want Bill back either way. But if you have the option of firing him or trading him, I'll take trading him every single time. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, because you're getting stuff back.
That's better.
So, here are the what ifs and why not. I mean, and I keep going back to this. Why would the Commanders give you anything if they know you're going to fire him? So, that piece I keep getting hung up on. If Belichick were a player, the Commanders wouldn't trade for him. They'd say, we're going to wait for you to cut him, and then we'll sign him. So why would we do it for a coach? You're going to fire him. You're not going to bring him back under the same conditions. You're either going to fire him or you're going to breach his contract by taking away the GM duties, and he'll be able to walk for nothing. And if I were Belichick, I'd be telling the Commanders that. I'd say to the Commanders, don't give up your first-round pick.
Of course.
By the way, I want to use the first-round pick, and they're going to have to fire me, or they're going to take away my GM duties, and that's going to be a breach of my contract, and I'll be able to walk for free. So don't give them anything. So why would the Commanders do it? Well, I guess the answer would be because then the Patriots could play this game of chicken. Oh, we're not firing him. You're the GM still. Go ahead. And you have this whole runway of the offseason before you get to the heavy draft stuff. Free agency doesn't start till mid-March. And it's like you just sort of hold your cards. If you're the Kraft, say, no, he's back. Unless you want to make an offer, but he's back. You know what I mean? And now we have that game of chicken. And so then I'd be stunned if Bill got a first-round pick for that very reason.
Okay, go ahead.
Because then the Commanders say, okay, yeah, you just hold on to him. We know you're not going to let him run your draft board again. So we'll wait till April and then you fire him. And the Kraft say, okay, we'll wait till April. He's going to run our draft board. And everyone knows they're lying. And then the owners get together and they say, well, all right, let's cut the crap. You know you're not holding on to him. So instead of a first, how's a third? And then it becomes a third-round pick for Bill Belichick. How do you feel about a third-round pick for Bill Belichick?
I would take it.
Yeah, fine. It's still a return. It's something.
It cheapened the whole thing.
Well, look, again, but for all the reasons you said.
We traded Vince Lombardi for a third-round pick.
Yeah, at age 71, going on 72. So Rob Gronkowski got a fourth. Like, I can get over that part of it.
They let Tom Brady walk for nothing.
Right. At least in this one, they get something. Something. Because to me, the change is necessary. And as you say it, the Patriots could stretch it out. Especially if they think they have the replacements here. So they could just kind of say, yeah, we'll sit tight. We already got the guys who are going to succeed him here. We talked to them on the QT, get him on the background. Hey, Gerard, sit tight. You're going to be the coach of this team. We're going to make it look like we're keeping Bill. We're not. Just keep your mouth shut. Act like you're still coaching the defense. And eventually we're going to flip this thing over and we're going to send him to Washington.
I just find this part, interesting. The jockeying and the cooler heads prevail and the owners come together and say, well, instead of playing this game, it's not a first. But then again, Sean Payton gets a first round. The Saints somehow get a first round pick for Sean Payton, who had been out of the game a couple years and wasn't going anywhere. And they get a first round pick out of the thing. So based on that, maybe the Pats can worm a first-round pick out of the thing. But, then again, Peyton walked. He wasn't fired. They didn't take away responsibility or breach his contract. So all this stuff, how this all plays out, I think we're in the middle of it. Or either it's just beginning or we're just beginning with it, and it's already this stuff has been going on behind the scenes now for a while. Like, I think all this stuff is in play. Florio kept going on this. Let's hear the rest of his cut there, Kev. If we could just pick it up from where we left off after that rejoin, if you don't mind. Either way, so your thoughts on this? 617-779-0985. Where's the best play? Do you have it? Go ahead.
If you're going to try to import the Patriot way, you've got to give it time or don't do it. I'm not saying they shouldn't have been fired. I'm saying they shouldn't have been hired. You don't hire these guys if you're not committed to giving them the time necessary to get a locker room full of players who have the same kind of buy-in, the same kind of mentality, the ability to deal with all the crap that you have to deal with as a player if you're going to be successful in a Belichickian organization. And we've seen it happen. We saw it happen with McDaniels the last time he was a head coach. We saw it happen with Matt Patricia in Detroit. He came in and first order of business, he pissed off Darius Slay as a way to send a message to everybody, there's a new sheriff in town. Well, the problem is there's a sheriff over the sheriff who may decide, you know what, you might not be cut out for this, before the whole process has an opportunity to turn over the roster sufficiently to give him a chance. That's the problem with hiring Belichick assistants. And they can say all they want. I'm going to be my own coach. I'm not going to do it the way. They don't realize it's baked into them. A decade plus with Bill Belichick changes you. It alters your DNA. You think you're being yourself, but you're not. You're a replicant of Bill Belichick.
I don't think
that's what happened.
I don't think that's it. But either way, we'll play the rest when we get settled. Is the Commanders the best place for him? Where's the best place for him?
I'd have to think about whether it's the best place. I would call it a place. The fit is decent. Yeah, the fit's good. I don't know if I still think a place like Dallas would be better.
Why? The Chargers.
Because the team's championship ready. Bill would inherit a better roster with a chance of winning now.
Do you think Belichick would rather walk into a place that's more ready-made with pieces already in place, or start from the scratch in his vision, his image?
Maybe the second thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he doesn't like anybody's residue.
Yeah, it's like,
for lack of a better word.
This is just a part of it. We know ego's a part of it with them. It's like, Herbert was already there. You just walked in and took him to the next level, but he was already there. Versus, I came in and built the whole thing, which, again, he gets off on. He did it here. He believes he did it in Cleveland.
He might also be under no delusion of winning a Super Bowl at his next stop. It might be to build something.
Well,
and break the record.
So that's just one thing that I'm bringing up. But my guess is that that's a secondary concern. First concern, contract, money, control. That's it. Whether it's a team with a quarterback or not a quarterback, a team that's ready or starting from scratch like the Commanders, he wants to walk in with a big, badass contract, making a lot of money, with full control of the building, full control of hiring and firing of football people. And that's what I think he would want first and foremost. And if the Chargers want to give him that with Justin Herbert, you'd consider that right alongside the Commanders. But that, to me, that would be the first thing, because that's usually where it begins. For all these guys, for everybody. Money, contract, that thing. So let's start with that. It's already begun with Belichick. You want to trade him? A trade. Why would anyone trade for him? Why would anyone trade for him when he's going to be fired? And I know what a lot of you are saying out there, and that is, well, he sucks. Why would anyone want him anyway? For some teams, he makes sense. For some teams, he would. Don't you think? You don't think he would make sense for some teams? And if you're just going to trade him for a third-round pick, doesn't that feel kind of cheap? Meaning it's just like, why are you haggling on the way out the door for this guy when you wouldn't even do anything close to that for you? Let Brady walk for nothing.